Greetings, thank you for lending an ear to the voice of the times for Wednesday, September 29, 2021. For today's editorial, decentralization should continue beyond Duterte's term. Decentralizing the country was one of the broad policy initiatives pursued by the administration of President Rodrigo Duterte from the very beginning of his term in office. Decentralization generally means the transfer of some responsibilities and authority from the national government to local government units or LGUs with the objective of providing more responsive and effective governance. As a native Mindanaoan, President Duterte was keenly aware of the shortcomings of the top-down structure of the national government and presented his notion of decentralization as a key selling point of his candidacy. While some significant progress has been made, it is probably fair to say that has been less than was hoped for. That is to be expected given the impact of the pandemic that no one could anticipate. With little time left before next year's national elections, there is not much more than can be done to continue the decentralization initiative under the current administration. Regardless of who leads the next administration, it is imperative that the work toward decentralization begun under the President Duterte not only be continued but expanded and accelerated. The Philippines will face two overriding challenges under the new administration. First, recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, and second, managing the effects of climate change. Decentralization along the lines envisioned by the Duterte administration will be a powerful tool to help overcome both challenges. With respect to the pandemic, recovery means the resumption of economic activities and the return to the growth trajectory the Philippines was enjoying before it was derailed by the global calamity. While the pace of success is defined by broad indicators such as gross domestic product or GDP growth, manufacturing output and trade, all those things rely on progress at a very small level, activities of individual businesses, individual workers being gainfully employed, individual households purchasing goods and services, giving local jurisdictions greater flexibility to create an enabling environment for business and consumer activity based on their unique local circumstances is logically more effective than a centralized one-size-fits-all approach. There is another important aspect to recovery from the pandemic. If, or rather, when another pandemic threatens the country, it is clear that it will be better managed at the local rather than the national level. Over the course of the past 18 months, we have seen many examples of LGUs with more effective responses to the pandemic than the national program. The cities of Pasig and Mandaluyong, for instance, were among the first to develop functional contact tracing apps. These apps, which are compatible with each other, have been used effectively more than a year, while the several developed by the national government still function poorly, if at all. As another example, outside of Metro Manila, the province of Surigao del Norte quickly developed and distributed an integrated health pass to its citizens, which serves as a combination identification card, contact tracing app, and travel document. Using the health pass, local officials are able to quickly deploy healthcare and social support where it is needed, with the result being that cases of COVID-19 have been kept to very modest numbers, while the pandemic has overrun other parts of the country. Continuing the work of decentralizing responsibilities and resources for public health will be critical for protecting the country in a future pandemic emergency. Finally, decentralization is a key strategy for mitigating and adapting to the effects of climate change. There is a concept in climate action called degrowth, which is still considered radical by some but is rapidly gaining acceptance, that asserts the only effective way to achieve environmental sustainability is to reduce consumption of energy and resources. One way to work toward that goal is to decongest dense metropolitan areas such as Metro Manila and spread out the population and economic activities, providing incentives for that to happen by making other parts of the country more attractive to businesses and families was exactly what the Duterte administration sought to achieve. If the next administration maintains only one piece of Duterte's policy legacy, it ought to be this one. And that's the editorial for Wednesday, September 29, 2021. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to its digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram and listen to the Voice of the Times.